one.
So we have some ladies who are not able to attend today to the talk in the park. And I wanted to ask the question for some of those women who were not able to come based on the fact that their partners did not give them permission to attend this talk. So I wanted to pose that question to Rick.
Well, I would say my response to that is whatever agreements were established in those relationships may need to be renegotiated. I foster the stance that if I love and care for someone, I want to see them grow. And if those women or men are seeking to expand their understanding of themselves and grow and experience new levels of connectedness with themselves that would foster greater connection with their partners, then I'm definitely supporting that. So if a partner is objecting to that, then the question needs to be asked, what is their fear factor that is being challenged? Something is resonating. Is it, or rather, insecurities that is being brought to bear in terms of like, okay, I can't have another man working on my woman, and my woman is very possessive. We are sovereign individuals that agree through whatever contracts, verbal and otherwise, whether it's legal in terms of being married or, you know, this is just a partner that I'm with for 12 years or what have you. Those agreements, we're constantly renegotiating. And so I know as an individual, I am not the same person I was 10 years ago. So what's likely to happen if I may not like a partner exploring something, but I'm not going to stop her from doing that if she feels that is for her greater and highest good. What that may also mean is that the chapter of that relationship may come to a close, but also if the partner engages, then it can bring the relationship to higher heights.
Can I add something?
Thank you.
Certainly.
What I am learning and what I have come to believe now is too that we also have to like be aware of how our partners are engaging 80% of the time as well, like having constructive conversations, right, where you can show up and you can listen and be heard and be understood. But when we think about our men or our women, right, when they go to work and you're at work 80% of the time, how are you naturally engaging? Are you in an environment where constructive conversation is allowed? Are you in an environment where you are to put your head down, do your job, and go home? And so that goes back to, okay, well, how are we used to communicating?
Yes.
So you're talking about setting those new expectations, right? But when the expectations day in and day out is to show up as this person where you're not allowed to listen, be heard, and be understood, then for some it is impossible to even know how to go to the table and have that conversation, right? Because what does that look like? What does me listening, what does me understanding, what is me being heard, what does that look like? So like that's even a bigger dive into intimacy, right? Ultimately,
How do you
and
start
many
the
of us,
conversation?
like Sister Mara was saying, right? Yeah, this is what I'm used to. But many of us have never experienced like an intimate moment where you can even go and say to your partner, to your lover, to your friend, this is what I am needing. And then also having them understand
hear you, but they're not listening to you.
They're not listening, or they hear you. It can go so many different ways, right? You can say it, they can hear you, and they don't understand.
Right. Exactly.
I'll give you an example.
Overspending.
Well, this is on video, so it won't be.
You want to wait till after she?
For example, with my situation, I tell the person, when I met you, this is what the situation was, right? Now, I'm coming into my 40s. I'm about to be 40 soon. This is what I want, right? And when you tell them that, he's like, well, and I said, I want intimacy from you. He's gonna tell me, well, the only thing I know is fucking. So, okay, how is that gonna help me? And why do you expect me to still fuck you? Why am I doing that?
For what?
Because if I'm asking you for something and you're telling me blatant that you cannot provide said things, why am I still in the same conversation?
The work is so hard, right? But somebody has to do it.
But when
Somebody
you love
has to
yourself,
say it.
and this is what she's saying. This is what she's saying this now, because women have to know this. When you got the response that he gave you, because he's telling you the truth, men tell you, it's for you to say, I love myself enough that this is not going to work for
out.
me. It's not going to work out, and I'm going to go
And
because
then-
the Most High, and you're going to continue who you need and what you want.
Yes.
So then I said, okay, I see what you want. That's not what I want. Deuces.
Yep.
Right? He's gonna be like, well, you know, I'm gonna always be there. This nigga's like my shadow. I don't need a shadow. I already have a 14-year-old shadow. That's my personal handbag. I don't need you as a 40-something-year-old following me now.
Blocking your blessings.
Like, it's just to the point where I don't know if they just dumb and stupid, or stupid and dumb, or just don't give a fuck.
Or
It's
just
an experience, and it also comes from women who
We
allow.
gotta have y'all gotta one at a
Exactly.
time.
And she did for a time.
Yes.
She
It's
allowed
come
it for a little bit, so
Right.
he's like, why are you complaining about it now?
And then when I tell him, no, I'm done, it's a problem.
Of course
you
it
won't
is.
leave me
Because
alone.
he's manipulative and controlling,
Yeah,
and he doesn't
right.
want you
And
to see
gaslighting.
better. Exactly.
Because, oh, no, I'm seeing it wrong, you know. So I'm saying, okay, how am I seeing it's wrong when I'm telling you what I want? I'm telling you what I need. You cannot fulfill those things. I know, accepting whatever you're telling me, right? So please vacate the premises. Let somebody else in that will take up that space, that will actually provide those services to me, right? Why are you holding? Oh, we're gonna have a
Because
problem.
men are territorial.
Yeah, he don't want to see you happy with somebody else.
But
I
not
don't
only
give two
that,
But you gotta let go, because he's gonna keep on holding on, and you're gonna continue to be unhappy.
not only
I-
that, the
Oh.
conversation that she's having with this
Hold
particular
it,
man,
one at a time.
most women can't even have that conversation. This is why we were able to videotape today, because the women who didn't have permission to come never even showed up because their lover was like, no, I'm uncomfortable with this. So most women are not even going to recognize that they don't understand love, they're not receiving the intimacy, they're not receiving the sensuality. They just keep accepting it with the man convincing them, this is what I'm giving you, this is what you're going to get. You're not going to get it from anywhere else. So you were able to find the power within and just say, hey, I know what I want, and you're not providing it, and so I'm going to have to let you go. A lot of women don't have that strength that you have.
They don't.
She's right.
They don't.
Well,
They don't.
We create chaos.
If
We
I
create
may
chaos too.
offer
Let-
another
Exactly.
way of approaching it, and again, I'm not supporting a man telling a woman that she cannot do X, Y, and Z, right? It's about recognizing that we're evolving beings, and in our evolution, if, let's say, arguably you're with someone at 25 and you're now 45, you and he, or she and he, are not the same persons at 45 as they were at 25, right? So that understanding dictates that in our evolution, our needs are going to change, or they need to evolve. And again, when that occurs, if there's not an agreement or a renegotiation of the agreement, then the parties may need to separate, or or separate for a period of time, or what have you, whatever they agree upon. So when it comes to those types of situations, I know that there are emotional, financial factors at play in the dynamics of relationships. But for women, you are the stewards of culture and the family. Your growth means my capacity to grow expands. So why would I want to limit you in your growth? Even when I don't agree with it. I've recently in a workshop had I think it was 4 couples that came. The wives brought most of them, wives were the ones that initiated. But to see the men, some of the men that were like, oh, I found benefit in being here because it showed me another way of being or showing up. And so the aspect of how men show up, and we can have another conversation where we're talking to men about how men show up in another circumstance. Men have fragility that most of us don't contend with, right? Our egos are bigger than life, and when it comes to how a woman speaks to a man to move him to do great things is as impactful as her desire to grow and expand. So I want to say for the men who may be listening to this, or it finds its way to you relative to your wife or your partner, it's important that you strive to evolve in your understanding of yourself, and realize and recognize that your woman evolving is a good thing for you.
Man, we evolve,
right?
We will give you the world.
So they're not gonna
understand.
And that's a growth process too. But it also, again, the environment that you're cultivated in enhances your ability or it restricts your ability. And we all have levels of that we have to go through. It's said that a girl matures quicker than a boy. And so in one respect, we're always catching up, right? You are innately coming into this realm with connectedness to yourselves most of the time, and to the environment that you're in. And we're just like, okay, this is what I see. Okay, I go and do, right? And so it's a balance in working all relationships. Communication to me is key. Being able to talk, and what the sister said about listening, hearing each other, and potentially using other modalities to communicate. And again, it's ultimatums are fine when you are in the space to move if that person doesn't respond in the way that you need them to. But ultimately, we're a sovereign entity.